So, it is late March, and Dhruv Amin is sitting on top of an $11 million pile of venture capital because he built an app called Anything. His entire business model is letting people generate full-stack iOS apps using AI while they sit on the toilet. It is the peak of the vibe coding gold rush. And then, on March 26th, Tim Cook wakes up, looks at this $100 million startup, and just absolutely deletes it from the App Store. Dead. Apple is using Guideline 2.5.2 to permanently ban AI code execution apps from iOS. Now, if you don't know what vibe coding is, it is a term coined by Andrei Karpathy to describe generating software entirely through natural language prompts. He told developers to fully give in to the vibes and forget that the code even exists. And the tech bros, my man, they absolutely lost their minds over this. It became a $5 billion market almost overnight. Y Combinator is funding startups where 95% of the code base is just AI-generated slop. People are publishing thousands of apps directly from their iPads without ever looking at a single line of syntax. And Apple's official response to this massive wave of innovation is to claim these are dangerous chameleon apps that bypass their rigorous security reviews. Apple says they are protecting you from an unbounded attack surface. But is Apple really just trying to keep your iPhone safe from buggy code? No. Here's the thing. Apple actually has the perfect excuse because vibe-coded apps are a catastrophic security nightmare. A security firm called Tensai just tested 5 major AI coding tools by having them build basic web apps. They found 69 critical vulnerabilities across just 15 applications. Escape.tech scanned a few thousand of these vibe-coded apps and found over 400 exposed API keys and 175 instances of leaked personal data. Because when you let an LLM write your database logic, you aren't actually programming. You are asking a statistical pattern matcher to guess what a secure authentication flow looks like. It is a math function that predicts the next token. It has no common sense, no intuition, and absolutely no concept of row-level security. It is basically like hiring a golden retriever to guard a bank vault, and the dog just hands the keys to the first guy who gives it a treat. The AI is like, here is your fully functional social network, and also I hard-coded your AWS root credentials in the client bundle. Just days ago, attackers poisoned the Axios library, and vibe coders unknowingly shipped a remote access Trojan straight into production. The syntax is clean, but the structural integrity is rotting. And so because of this very real security threat, Apple drops the hammer on third-party apps like Replit and Vibecode. They tell them you cannot execute external code on an iOS device. But while Tim Cook is locking the front door to protect you, he is quietly backing a dump truck full of AI agents into the loading dock. In February, Apple released Xcode 26.3, and natively integrated directly into the core build loop is Anthropic's Claude and OpenAI's Codex. Apple's internal AI was so far behind that they basically outsourced their entire brain trust to Sam Altman. So, you can't use a cloud-based AI agent on your cheap iPad because that's a security risk. But if you buy a $3,000 Mac and pay for an Anthropic subscription to run the exact same AI model inside Apple's proprietary developer environment, well, suddenly it is perfectly safe. Say what you want about Apple, but their ability to weaponize security to protect their profit margins is genuinely breathtaking. Meanwhile, an Indian vibe coding app called Emergent is still sitting at number 1 in the developer tools category doing the exact same thing. This isn't about protecting users from bad code. This is about protecting Apple's 30% cut. If you can build and run an app entirely on your phone through a third-party platform, Apple makes $0 in App Store commissions, and Apple is projected to make over $1 billion this year just from AI-related subscriptions. They cannot allow a world where code is generated and executed on-device without their seal of approval. I think we are honestly watching the fundamental enclosure of the next generation of software development. The open internet promised us that anyone with an idea could build and distribute software. And for a brief moment, vibe coding looked like the ultimate democratization of that promise. But we built this entire ecosystem inside a walled garden owned by a hardware company. And now that AI can write the The company that controls the hardware is making sure they are the only ones allowed to hold the leash. They don't care if the code is vulnerable. They don't care if the open source ecosystem is dying because AI is mining it for training data without giving anything back. They only care that the toll booth stays open. We are rapidly moving toward a reality where the only legitimate way to build software is to rent the intelligence from OpenAI and rent the distribution from Apple. You aren't a developer anymore. You are just a middleman passing tokens between $2 trillion monopolies.